Alright, this week we haven't done too much. We put a chicken, but anyway. When I was taking my plating, got it plated, so I've got all that back. Still got some urethane blocks from last week that I didn't process, so we'll do those first. So these are the RB 20 and 30 inch mounts that I do. They're just a big Dura 80 urethane block. So, and they just have cap plates on each side. What are you doing? Noisy. So I ran out of these again, so had to get more made. So I just get them in a block, and then I drill the hole in them. It's just easier to mold, but it's usually pretty simple. Just put them together. So it's basically like a solid mount, but because the urethane has squash in it, it doesn't pass as much of the vibration through the chassis, so they seem to go alright. It's actually a small batch. Usually I get 40 at a time. I think this is 16. So these are my R31 front brake adapters. So you can see that two are through holes at 100 and two are tapped holes, M12 by 1.25. I think it's like 88.9 mil spacing. So you can put 4 pistons on R31s and stuff. Don't usually do anything with them other than just sit them on the shelf and then piece them together when I sell them. So I'll just put these out of the way. This is my redesign of an R31 BMC stopper. Previously I had 3 plates welded together with a boss and a set screw that went in there with a jam nut and a cap. So I've still got some caps. They're all the caps I got machined up for the first batch. I think this is the 3rd batch, but due to time constraints I've redesigned it so it'd be much simpler to manufacture. that's pretty much what I was going to do this time. Just 2 jam nuts, a stud, and then a cap on the cylinder, and then 3 button heads to hold it on, so it actually looked pretty. These are my new dual EL caliper setup for R31s. So you can run either twin R31 calipers or twin VS calipers and an EL Falcon rear rotor on an R31. So I'll hopefully put one on this weekend, test fit it, so I can make a post and start selling them. But I think they come up alright. They're a bit different to all the other ones. The other ones are usually a welded assembly with like 16 bolts and everything, hold it together. So I'm going to try and do the R32 setup that I do in a similar fashion, folded plate. Makes it a bit easier. Or easier. Should be 6 pairs. So I haven't done them for a while because usually they're pretty labour intensive, but sat down behind the computer and worked out a much easier way to do it and still get the same finished product, but much more time efficient to make. So still laser cut and CNC folded, so it's all pretty good. These are the barrow brackets. That's the passenger side one. That's the driver's side one. So trying to make it easier to do the conversion. So the plate bolts the engine and the angle suits the R32 or the RB20 or R31 hopefully as well, cross member at the 45-degree angle. And there's a bit of slot fine tuning just in case the 31 shift is in a different spot, but it goes pretty good with the R32 shifter hole in the floor. This is the shim, just in case you run the rack relocation. When you move the rack forward, there's a big rib in the block, and where the clamps are, it's because the racks move forward, it gets really close to it. So I just try to pack it up a little bit more, get some more clearance between that rib and the clamp, just so it doesn't clash under torque. But it's a long weekend, so hopefully I'll fit them this weekend. I can show you. So this is the passenger side one. Passenger side has the cutout for going around the oil filter, and I've managed to keep the oil filter far enough forward it doesn't clash with the bracket on the cross member. But hopefully when I fit it I'll show you it all. So I'll give that a crack later this weekend. So this is my first job for the night. So on my EL brake kits, I use a Ford rotor, and the Ford rotor has a larger ID than a Nissan rotor. So to take up the difference, I machine out these aluminium hub rings, so they slip inside the rotor and locate on the axle. So the EL rotor is always centered, otherwise it might wander off. But usually I get these CNC'd, but I decided I was going to machine some because I didn't feel like buying 100 at a time. So I think I machined like 60, which should have got them CNC'd. But pan deburred the insides, but now we just got to take the edge off the outside from parting it. They put a bit of a, don't know if you'll see it, but there's an edge on both sides. Just got to knock it off. So I've got the most flogged out belt that I could find, whacked it on, and we're going to take the edge off. So we'll see how that goes. So another job tonight, because I've got to drill the 4 holes for my R31 GTST rear adapters out to 10.5mm. Because I cut the files over and over again. When I sent the file in originally, I didn't allow clearance for the bolt, so they cut them 10mm instead of 10.5. Every other set I remembered to drill the bolt hole out before sending them off to get plated, but this set I've missed out on it, so I'll have to do it now, just so I can bolt them all up and send them out when they get purchased. Now that I've got them drilled out, I can work on matching them up. I like to pair them up into sets and sit them on the shelf. Just got to check that all 4 bolt holes line up. So I've got a test fit my EL dual caliper plate, so we'll do that tonight so I can actually make an attempt at selling them. This is the only 31 diff that I've still got. It's pretty rusty, but it's still a 31 diff, so we'll put it all together and take some photos and see how it goes. Ooh, it's got water in it. So I shouldn't need the dust cover anymore. Put the caliper plate on. You notice that there's a larger pattern and a smaller pattern, so same way. Put it on like so. Check out the rust on the axle. Right, next one I'll bring, puts on, so I've knocked all the studs out. So this is an EL rotor, and this is a 31 rotor. So you can see the difference in size, 300mm versus 278. Goes on like that. And then the only calipers that I've got handy at the moment are VS Commodore, so we'll just whack them on.
It only was $1,100, but that's
So we'll have to work out what's going wrong here. So it seems it was slightly out. So I've had to put a flat washer on the inside, and then that gives it the right distances. So you can see that I've got a flat washer in there, and then that centers it in there pretty well. So it must be slightly out, but you can see that the pads are touched down properly. They're riding it around there, 3mm in. So we'll have to look at it. But it was a good idea. Just see where it went wrong. So these are the two EL dual caliper setups. That's version 2. See how it's a Weldman on the bottom, and it's got a plate that bolts to the top of it. This is version 3. See, it's basically a folded plate to do the same job. I've had a thought about it, and I think I've worked out where the error is. As you can see, technically the face on the diff is in the same place, and the inside of the caliper mount's in the same place. So all that should be fine. Should have went on that way. I think where my error comes in is I was on the DXF that I sent the guys to fabricate it off. I rounded the angles